My uplifted ancestors, fierce protectors and skilled healers, I beseech you to guide me. Today is a special day.
The story, it's actually a bit confusing kidogo, to explain. It follows it's a young man called Murambi who wants to fulfill his father's dream of becoming a community leader. While he's doing all of this, he is in a conflict with the gods. The premise itself is very intriguing, but at the same time, the filmmakers did not. There is a lot of untapped potential from this premise. A lot could have been done to make this premise, go to that extra mile.
Finally, nimepata njia ya kurudishia baba heshima zake. It was father's life mission to get back on the seat.
If you watch When the Gods Argue, what came to mind? It's Pixar Inside Out. What made Inside Out amazing? There's really such a huge conflict among these emotional characters, and they are back to forth, affected what was happening with the real life character. I think wangefanya the same with When the Gods Argue. Ingekuwa much interesting, like wange build on the conflict mbaya sana. The conflict is not strong enough. It's against a very weak conflict. It was not developed well. So the conflict here could have been an internal conflict, a very strong internal conflict, first of all in real life, and then a clear conflict among the gods. But that conflict was not there. It was not developed well. Kungekuwa na a lot of room to build on tension. Imagine the characters, the young man's life being at stake due our gods wanna argue. Like in real life, the character is in a dilemma. Okay, he needs to get out of this dilemma, but Juma gods wakona maishu zao. The young man's life is at stake. Like imagine that. Like ingekuwa so much interesting, so much tension. At first, cutting or going back and forth between the real world, the young man's life, and the gods, okay, was interesting. But then ikafika point, it became exhausting. Why? Because there was no conflict. Okay, like ilika do the same. When you're waiting for something to happen, really to turn things around. So when you're waiting for something to happen that can turn things around, there was not that moment. So it became exhausting. There was no tension, no conflict, no twists and turns. So it get boring, it get exhausting. Another problem with the film is it suffers from a problematic perspective. It's not clear. It's not taking a stance with its characters and with its plot. Like, what are you saying? Nilikuwa naona ni kama maneno tu wanarushiana. Ukijaribu kuangalia like wewe umesimamia nini? They said it in the very beginning, but I think along the way ikapotea, because hawakusimamia what they are there for. I did not see the purpose. Yeah, the gods. Like, what are you standing for? What are you standing for? What are you standing for? When it comes to dialogue delivery, each character sounded the same. There's no depth. There's no character like personality when it comes to the way they talk. Like, they sounded the same. Hakuna that depth with dialogue. Not really with the dialogue itself, but the way it is delivered. by the actors in a sound the same. Every character in a sound the same. If it makes any sense. I really loved the setting, yeah, the gods, the lighting. Like, we really don't have a clear picture where this location is at. You need to fit it because it added to the kuwa too uncertain, you know, the believability. We are very uncertain because maybe wangetuonyesha where the gods are wako, hatunge buy into that setting, you know. But the fact that wako took place too fulani, like, it was really believable. It was really believable that, like, the visually ilikuwanga fitting. So my conclusion is there was so much potential with the execution of such a premise, but my filmmakers like walilalisha could take advantage of that. When the Gods Argue is such an interesting, captivating, intriguing title for a movie. When the gods argue, what do they say? And what happens when they argue? Well, these gods arguing made no sense. The outcome of their argument again has no effect. This film, I'll give it I have 2 ratings for this movie. 1 is a 5. That's, to me, it's an average movie, okay? And the other rating is a 4 out of 10. That's a bad movie, like, not very bad, but bad. And the reason for those 2 ratings is the one point up on the premise. The premise means ilipenda, but the premise is not enough. Like, execution ili fail. So with the premise, a 5. Because of the execution, a 4.